Hi guys, Zaby here, bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, we are doing a Majespecter deck profile. It's actually Majespecters and Performages. I personally like to call this deck MajeMage. This deck actually did pretty well in the last last YCS. So I was working on this deck and playtesting a lot before the ban list, trying to build this deck for quite a long time. Since I found out Majespecters were going to be in the last set I found out about them, I really wanted to build this deck. But of course, some of these cards turned out harder to get than originally thought. So it took me a while to try to get all the deck together. And I've been doing a lot on DevPro and Dueling Network using this deck with a lot of success. So this is a very good deck. And I'm pretty proud of it because I pretty much built most of this on my own. I did take a couple suggestions here and there from some of the tops from the YCS decks, and not too much, but most of the decks were pretty similar to mine, which is kind of funny. So without further ado, let's go ahead and delve right into this deck. First off, the card that you need to run, you need 3 of Majespecter Raccoon Bunbuku. This is the card, you'll need 3 of this no matter what. It's a given with this deck. It's the Searcher, and it is a scale 5, but unless you're desperate, you're probably never going to use this for one of your scales. So next up, we run triple Majespecter Fox Kyubi. This is the trap searcher of the deck. It also has the highest base attack for any of the Majespecters that are level 4 or lower. Then we have our spell searcher. We have Majespecter Crow Yada. This is probably not going to be a permanent addition to the deck. I'm probably going to replace this deck once the frog comes out in the next set, because you don't really need... This card gets sided out a lot, in my opinion, but it's still good because the spells for now are still a good cards. So next Majespecter, we have 2 Majespecter Cat Nikomadas. This card, you definitely, if you're running a very pure Majespecter deck, you're probably going to want to run 3 Nikomadas and 3 Crows, especially the Cat, because you want to try to get into your Bunbuku more. But this is, again, a kind of a fusion of a couple archetypes, so it's similar to Performage Pendulums, which are actually becoming a lot more popular than even the Majespecter Performages. So, you know, I really like the Majespecter, so, and it's still a super good deck. So then we have 1 Majespecter Unicorn Kareen. I see a lot of people just taking this card out completely from their mixed builds, but I think it's kind of a wasted opportunity, in my opinion. You might not be able to Pendulum Summon for it every turn, unless you have Archfiend Eccentric out, but it's not going to be too much of a problem if you can just Tribute Summon it and get it out, because I think a lot of people forget you can use this card on both turns. You don't have to just use it on your own turn. You can actually still use it on your opponent's turn and still return something to their hand. It can stop some plays right in their tracks. So this is an amazing card, and I don't know why some people don't run it in their Performage build. Next up, we're going to show what we were running for Performages. We're running triple Plush Fire. This card is just too good. This is pretty much the searcher for the Performage part of the deck, and just too good of a card. We run 1 Pendulum or Performage Mirror Conductor. I tried running 2 of these, but boy, I don't like how it's a 3 scale, because it's just some of the more important cards for the deck. Well, the most important card of the deck is a level 3, which means you can't get it out with this card if it's your scale. And that card I'm talking about is the Majespecter Raccoon Bunbuku. But sometimes you really, really need to be able to search for that lower scale to get some of your plays off, because almost the whole deck is level 4. But I try not to go into this one as much. Its effect is actually not too bad, but you kind of want to try to get into this card. It's kind of, you know, my last resort, so but it's still a good card. Then We run triple Performage Damage Juggler. You can save your life points, and there's some pretty good combos you can pull off with this card. And it's pretty much like the Plush Fire, but instead of special summoning the monster, it just goes to your hand. So it's a little bit worse than the Plush Fire, but not really. So still a great card. Then we run one Performage Trick Clown because you can do some pretty decent combos with this. You can protect yourself with it too. So then we have one Performage Hat Tricker because you can pull off some pretty cool combos with this card. So that's it for the Performage part of this deck. I should also note this deck is very monster heavy and spell heavy. There's not a lot of traps in this build, so I've kind of always had it that way. So I actually didn't run this card for a while until I actually ran two of the Trick Clowns instead of this card, because at first, when I was first playtesting with this build, I don't know, it just kind of was in my hand and I didn't feel like I did much with it. But then after the YCS was over and it was being run, I decided, let's try this again, and I don't know why I ever took it out of the deck. So next part of the deck, we have three Luster Pendulum the Draco Slayers. This has actually become a pretty expensive card, so I'm pretty happy I got I got two of them when they were still like under $10, and I think I bought a third one because originally I only ran two of these. I thought that was fine, but that was more of a pure, almost a pure Majespecter build. But now you just have to run three. You just get a lot of combos off of this card. You really want this card, especially with its synchro counterpart. It's just way too good. And last but not least for the monsters, we have two Archfiend Eccentric. It's a 7 scale, so you can get out your Unicorn if you have it, and it's also kind of like an extra MST for the deck, or even an Exiled Force if need be. So great card. So onto the spells, we have one Majesty's Pegasus. I did run two because I really thought I needed this card, but you do want to run two if you're running a pure deck. But this isn't a pure build, and this is also another card or another idea I took from the YCS. They only ran one of these, and I was running two. And I tried two, and you know what? I don't miss the second one, and it makes room for some other stuff that I need. And it was actually a pretty good idea because I can still draw into it, and it still pops up when I need it here and there. And it kind of supercharges, pretty much supercharges the Majespecter part of the deck if you draw into it. But it's not like a need. You don't really need to have it on the field to be able to win, but it can be helpful. Then we have one Majespecter Cyclone to search for Yada. And then we have one Majespecter Storm. Most people just take this card out completely from their build, and they'll run one or two of these guys. I should also note this is not searchable with Yada because it's called Majesty's Pegasus and doesn't have Majespecter in its name. So unfortunately it's not unsearchable. But these two are. They do target, which kind of sucks for the mirror match. So you probably wind up siding these out when you're in a mirror match, or at least another Majespecter deck you're going up against. It doesn't have to be Majespecter Performage, or I'll just say I like to call this MajeMage. It's just easier. So this is still really good. People count this card out because it's not a quick play. You can set this and use it on your opponent's turn. This destroys, but this returns a monster to the deck, which is stupendous, and I think it's a highly, highly underrated card in the deck. So one of each of those. Then we have Triple Upstart Goblin, the 37 card theory. Just helps the deck a little bit better. Triple Wavering Eyes. You really want to run this card because there's so many combos that you can do with this card. You don't even really want to side it. You really want to run 3 Wavering Eyes because your opponent can MST or straight up destroy your pendulum scales, and you want to try to plus from that even, or you can even pull off some other combos to swarm your field a little bit more. There's just so many uses for this card, and if your opponent is using a pendulum deck, this card comes even greater because you can search for another one, and you can even banish a card from the field because there's 4 effects, but you're probably going to use it for its searching effect, which is the second effect. So this is a great card. You really should run 3 of these, and if not, I mean, you can run 2 too, but I really suggest 3. Then we have a double Mystical Space Typhoon. I side the third one. And that's it for the spell cards. Onto the traps, we run... might be a controversial thing, because I think almost everybody runs 3 of this. But I run 2 Majespecter Tempest. I was very, very weary of taking this out. I was very concerned originally taking out my 3rd Tempest, because this is the one that doesn't target. And it's probably the best trap of the entire deck. It's probably one of the best Majespecter cards in general, which is why you run the 3 Q, because you're probably going to try to search for your Tempest to stop your opponent's plays, because it's pretty much a solemn warning for the Majespecter deck. Then I run 1 Majespecter Tornado. This card can come in handy in some situations. Sometimes I do go into this more than the Tempest if they have something in play that I really just need to get rid of. But it's kind of too late to use the Tempest, so, you know, but I can always, you know, there's still 2 of this. I normally go into the Tempest more than this, but this still can come in handy. So I run 1 of this. Then I run 1 Solemn Warning, because you don't have to have a Majespecter on the field to use it, and it's still really good. So that's it for the main deck. So I really like the build. I think I got the build down just right, at least in my opinion. So let's get on to the extra deck. You want to run 2 Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer. This is probably one of the best new cards to come out in a while, because it doesn't target, and it shuffles your opponent's monster back into the deck as a cost, which is great, because you destroy a pendulum monster you have as its effect, and its cost is to throw one of your opponent's monsters back into their deck and shuffle, which is great against Cosmos. It's the best natural defense, in my opinion, against Cosmos when you're going up with this deck. So you really want to run 2 of these. I'm almost considering running 3, but I've never run into a problem where I needed a 3rd one yet. And I've tested this deck extensively, so 2 seems to be fine. We got 1 Totem Bird for our rank 3s. Number 30, Acid Golem of Destruction, to get that attack if need be. And then 1 number 47, Nightmare Shark, to try to pick off your opponent's life points if possible. At the end, kind of like the Gaga cowboy of the deck. So don't run a lot of rank 3s, because there's not a lot of rank 3s in the deck, but they're still there. You know, you don't really exceed too much with this deck in my experience. You normally can win just by, you know, your monsters that you naturally have, from my experience, but, you know, these cards are there. Then we got 1 Magister Paladin, the Ascending Draco Slayer. It's a good Xyz to go into if you really need that search. Got 1 Performage Trapeze Magician. This can help push OTKs with your Performage part of the deck. We got 1 Lightning Chidori, because it's just a overall good card, and all the Majespecters are wind, so you can go into this card pretty easily. Then we have 1 Castell Staple. Then we have 1 number 101 Silent Underarch, which sometimes this can be the better option than Castell, and I think a lot of people forget that this card still exists, because most people just throw in the Castell. I think it actually is still a cheaper card than number 101, so, you know, that's okay. Then we have 1 number 52 Diamond Crab King for that. If you need to get over something strong, you know, you can attack over or even defend. Then we have 1 Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. This card's probably a temporary card for now, because I'll probably wind up putting in the Draco Slayer Fusion when the next set comes out, but it's still a good card, still has its uses. We have 1 Diamond Direwolf, 1 Abyss Dweller, and 1 Gaga Cowboy, and that's it for the extra deck. Pretty standard for the most part. But I think I explained what my choices were pretty well. So now I have my side deck. It's not complete in real life yet. I still need 3 more cards to finish it, but I don't have them, and I apologize. I really like to make these decks to be finished before I make these videos, but I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to get these cards. So I'm just going to show you the side deck I have for now, and tell you what I want to put in. So First off, we have 2 Max C sided, because it's Max C, and just a great card in general. The next, I would like to run 2 Denko Sekka, but I'm probably going to just run a Dust Tornado for now, just to have some heavy anti-pendulum stuff, and also anti-floodgates for this deck, because there are actually a lot of floodgates to stop the deck, so having Dust Tornadoes or some extra MST-like cards is still good. Then we have 1 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which I'd also just throw in a Dust Tornado until I get these cards, so that's just temporary. Just some staple cards. Also Denko Sekka I want to get because it stops a lot of decks, and it's kind of anti-floodgate for a lot of the stuff, unless they have Poisonous Winds, but you can still stop their stuff. So then we have our 3rd MST sided. Then we have a 3rd Majespecter Tempest. This is basically if I'm basically up against a mirror match, I have this 3rd one in to put back into the deck for the Kyubi, because I'm pretty much take out the Yadas for the Max Cs, and I take out the other stuff that targets, the Majespecter stuff that targets for other stuff, so that's why that's there. Then we have triple Imperial Iron Wall for them Cosmos. It's pretty much stops the deck from working, so you're going to run 3 of that. Then I run triple Grand Horn of Heaven. This card is super good against Majespecters. Shouldn't be telling you this, but I love this card in the mirror match because it really just stops plays and wins games when you're going up in the mirror match. So last but not least, we have the Trap Stuns for, again, some anti-hate for those floodgates against this deck. So that's my side deck. So, alright guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you get some ideas for your deck, some of the reasonings behind some of the stuff I'm doing, and I hope it helps your deck out a lot. I'm always open for suggestions, but I really think I have this build down packed, at least for me, because I've really tested this deck extensively, and I think I got it just right. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe, and you all have a wonderful day.